Okay, good day everyone. It is Nurse Immaculate again, the indomitable nurse. Today I want to talk about the same topic I talked about the last time. If you watched my last video, I talked about alcohol, and in that video, I refer to alcohol as a monster. And somehow, some people might be wondering why should she call alcohol a monster? This is something that has helped a lot of people. Some people have depended on it for quite a long time. They enjoy it. It is pleasurable and all that. Some people even had given me reasons why they can't do without it. They say it's helped them elevate their mood. Some people tell you that sometimes when I feel down, I take alcohol and I feel better. Some others say when I want to confront some difficult situations, I have to drink. It makes me feel more courageous. It makes me much more comfortable speaking to people I didn't want to speak to initially. And then some others say it helps improve my self-esteem. And so I just like taking it. It makes me feel better. Well, if I compare all these better feelings you talk about and its effects to you, if I compare them side by side to the harm this alcohol is doing to your body, I doubt if you would still want to keep taking it. Yes, the truth is, the essence of this video is not to stop you from taking alcohol. Yes, it's actually to make you understand what you're doing, take an informed decision. When I mean an informed decision, it's something you just have to know about and then decide what you want to do. For instance, if after telling you the harm the alcohol will do to your body, and then you feel, and so what, I'm aware, I can go ahead and take it, and you continue to take it, that's an informed decision. It's like somebody who already know that if I jump into the lagoon, I'm going to die, but then had made up his mind to jump into the lagoon and die. That's an informed decision. It's different from someone who just takes it because others are taking it. I'm just a social drinker. I don't think it does anything to me. I don't fall down. I don't get drunk. I am not an addict. So I can always drink. It doesn't really do anything to me. For such a person, he doesn't know that there are other harm that this substance is doing to his body. And so that's the essence of this video. In most cases, we've talked about substance abuse, and then under that big umbrella of substance abuse, a lot of people will begin to disengage alcohol from it. They begin to look at heroin, cocaine, those other big kind of drugs. And that is why we have narrowed this video down to just alcohol. I'm not talking of any other substance here. I'm talking of just alcohol and what it does to your system. As a matter of fact, alcohol affects us from the brain down to our toes. From head to toe, every system in your body suffers when you take alcohol. From the brain, at first you feel elated. At first you feel that a lightening of your mood and all that. It's all in the brain. And then after a while, there is slowness of the entire thing. That elation you felt at the beginning begins to slow down, and that is why you tend to sleep after a while. Now that is on the surface. The major harm done is to the brain. There is brain damage when you take alcohol. You have loss of memory. You have hallucinations. You have confusions. You see, this will become confused over time. Did I just say that? No, I didn't say that. It was this person I saw. No, it's this person. So that's confusion. It all have to do with your brain. Playing with your brain, that's what alcohol does. And then leaving the brain and coming down, it affects your heart. A lot of people have come down with high blood pressure because they at one point or the other took alcohol. Some people might tend to tell you, it's not true, I drink and my BP is normal. Yes, it might be normal today, but you can't tell what happens tomorrow. There is a higher risk of high blood pressure amidst people who drink alcohol. There is irregular pulse with them. There is enlargement of the heart with them. Then there's this increased risk of tuberculosis among people who drink, as well as HIV among those that drink. Then we come down to the intestines. The intestines tend to get abused when you take alcohol. For instance, the intestines are fragile. They are tiny vessels. Or let me not really vessels. They are just, the best way you can describe it is the earthworm. If you have ever studied the earthworm, That's exactly how your intestines look. And if you bring a glass of alcohol and then throw your earthworm in it, whatever happens to that earthworm is exactly what you're doing to your intestines. Now talk about the liver. The liver on its own is a wonderful organ and has the ability to regenerate itself once it's insulted. Now when you take alcohol, the same thing you do to the intestine, you do to the liver. There are bouts of injuries that you inflict on the liver when you take the alcohol. Now, because the liver has the strength to regenerate itself over time when it's injured, it will struggle through the process and then get healed. But as it is getting healed, it's leaving a scar on the liver. The next time you take another shot, you take another shot, the same injury comes to the liver, the liver struggles and gets healed, leaving a scar. Now, over time, these scars get multiplied on the liver and then limiting the ability of the liver to further regenerate itself and get healed. When this happens, you start seeing people at later times begin to come down with primary liver disease, liver cancer, liver cirrhosis, and different kinds of diseases affecting the liver, all linked to the alcohol they had consumed at one point or the other in their lives. You talk about hepatitis, increased cancer risk is there, bleeding, ulcers, all this as a result of intake of alcohol. Now in men, I have seen a lot of people complain. They say, "Nurse, I don't get to function the way I did some time ago. I don't know what's happening." Meanwhile, he drinks. Normally, when you take alcohol, you feel better. But even though you're feeling better, there are a lot of harm being done to every system of the body, like I said. Now, in your reproductive system as a man, it makes you impotent over time. There is shrinking of the testicles. The testicles become smaller as a result of alcohol. Then the sperm itself gets damaged over time, and there is a reduced sperm count. You talk about the women. Some women, people might feel, well, that's for the men. We are not, women are not affected. It increases your risk of gynecological problems as a woman. Now, what still if you're pregnant? If you're pregnant and you're drinking, you're not just harming yourself, you're harming your unborn baby. Because the alcohol has the potency to cross the blood-brain barrier and then affect the baby in utero. So when you take alcohol as a pregnant woman, you're increasing the risk of congenital deformities in your child, in your unborn baby. Now there is increased risk of breast cancer. So you can see that almost every system is being affected. Let's come down to the digestive system. In the digestive system, when you take alcohol, what happens? You have problem digesting your food. And sometimes the alcohol you take clogs the walls of the stomach to the point that the other food you have eaten are not able to pass through. The nutrients in the food you have consumed, the body is not able to absorb them and make use of them. So you end up passing them out. At the end of the day, you feed well, you feel you are filled, you have taken a lot, but you're not getting enough nutrients to your system. Then talk about the bones. Alcohol has a way of damaging your bone and increasing the risk of arthritis and other bone problems. So if you put these problems side by side to the feeling of elation you get, to the feeling of excitement you get, some people say, I'm less anxious when I take alcohol. Some people say, when I have problems at home, family issues, I just drink and forget it. You know, women have problems. You can't just continue with them. Once they start nagging, I just go out of the house and then I drink and I forget her. You forget her today. What about the problems tomorrow? And what about the harm being done to your system? So it is really not a solution. Drinking is actually not a solution. Rather, it helps you push the problem forward for you to meet it in fuller force tomorrow. Let's not forget about the kidneys. The kidneys are most affected by alcohol. How? Now, the kidney is the organ that helps you filter the blood. It helps you remove waste products from the blood and passing them out through the urine to allow the system function normally. The heart pumps, releases it, the kidney filters, and then the fluid, excess fluid is passed out. Now, by the time you take alcohol and the kidneys get affected, do you know what happens? They lose their ability to perform that function of filtering the blood. And eventually, all the waste products remain in the blood. They are not filtered. The excess fluid that should go out are not going out. The blood becomes congested and contaminated. This person begins to swell, having a lot of problems, and then they come down. The next thing we say, or the doctors will tell you, is that you have to go for dialysis. And of course, dialysis is not a joke, especially in developing countries like Nigeria and Africa. It's expensive here. Yes, that's the truth. So imagine when you need to go for dialysis 2 times, 3 times a week, and then the money is not readily available. We're talking of people who are living within or even below the poverty line. Now coming to go for dialysis from time to time, aside the multiple drugs they have to get that are also expensive. Now, what do I see? A lot of them, after being dialyzed once or twice, as the demand continues, they get discouraged because the fund is not there. And as they look for fund they are not getting, they just remain on bed. They keep swelling. You keep seeing the whole fluid all over them that needs to be moved out because the kidney had failed. The kidney had refused to do its work. Now, as this continues, they get to the end stage where the kidney is totally packing its load and folding up. At this point, remember, the backload of these fluids that are not being passed out are affecting the heart and overworking the heart. The heart begins to fail. So everything is interlinked, and all because of alcohol. This person finally closes down and eventually dies in bed. The most annoying part of it is that these are not old men. I'm not talking of old people here. I'm talking of young men. I'm talking of youths. I'm talking of people in their late 20s, in their 30s, in their early 40s at the most. And I've watched them degenerate this way and eventually die. And it breaks my heart. And so when I tell people, when I ask them 1 or 2 questions, they tell me, I'm just a social drinker. I'm not really a very heavy drinker like that. I didn't really know. In fact, I can't even link it to this. Yes. You may not be able to link it, but this is what it is. So that's why I'm doing this video, so that for as many out there who are still enjoying this thing, please, so you understand and then make an informed decision. If you've made up your mind that no matter what happens, I can't quit drinking, it's fine. But it's good you know that these are the things that can happen. If your brain is not affected, your liver is affected, your kidney is affected, your heart is affected, your function, sexually function is impaired. Every aspect of your body is affected. So if this is what you want, and I doubt if anybody would want this, and this is the reason I am making this video, please and please understand that this substance is poison. And like I called it a monster, it is worse than a monster. Thank you.